Okay, this is our final project, Joseph Kosmicki and Colten.
Lastine.
Yep. And so for our project, we took this Plinko pinball game and made a scoring system for it and a display. So we kind of divided and conquered on this. I worked on the LED scoring system. So what happens is, it's kind of hard to see with all the wires, but power is going from the Arduino to the basically to the base where this tin foil, and then each of these pins, these wires, go to a ground. So when the metal ball touches the wires, it completes the circuit, and voltage flows from the base through the ball through the pin up into here, and it passes to the resistors, lights up the LED indicators, and then flows to ground. In the meantime, though, it passes through each of these wires that act as inputs. They go into the Arduino. When the Arduino detects voltage, because it's in a low state when the pinball doesn't touch the bumpers, when it detects a high state, the outputs light up scoring LEDs that stay on. So I'm going to touch each of we'll show how the connections are a little dodgy, but so basically we touch this, and then we've got this one that comes on, and then another one that comes on permanently, and then and then you can go through and manipulate each of the pins. So there's another one. There's another one. So we got 7 pins in total, 7 LEDs to stay on and come on, and then the indicators to indicate that we actually are getting voltage into the input.
My part of the project was to program this LCD to recognize when the game starts, when this force sensor right here is pressed after the initial shot, and then when the game ends, when this force sensor is pressed by the ball. And so you go ahead and press select to start the overall game. And then once it hits this, force sensor, it would read the output from this Arduino. We haven't quite got that hooked up yet. And then once the ball finishes, it goes through here. It says round over, ball count goes down to 2. Do it 2 more times. Round over, and then game over, and then the final score, which would be from this Arduino, would be presented there. And then to restart the game, you'd have to hit the restart button here.
Let's take a look at the code for the LED scoring. We actually used arrays to declare the inputs and outputs. As you can see, we have 14 of them, 7 on the top for the bump, and then 7 on the bottom for the LED. As you can see in the bump, we actually had to go with analog pin 0 because digital pin 0 was kind of giving me some issues. In the void setup, we have a for loop to make sure all the inputs and outputs are set up as such. Then in the void loop, where the major portion of the code is, there's an if statement that checks, and it's referring to the arrays here with bump I. If those detect a high voltage, then the corresponding output, LED I, will output a high voltage to turn on the respective LED. So the code was pretty compact, and that was a good thing because the ball didn't make contact with the bumpers for a long time. So it seemed to do the job really well. We're going to do a quick demonstration. I've got the ball pulled back. I'm going to let her fly. And we got 1, 2, and 2 to hit 2 pins, so our final score is 2 there. I'd just like to give credit to everybody who helped us. Kyle, Dr. Kidd, Dr. Olson pointed out that our inputs needed to be on this side so the current would flow through them rather than on the other side of the LEDs where they would just be in a low state. And my brother, who looked through my code and found a semicolon and a few other things I screwed up, and just everybody else. I can't remember your names, but thank you.